Morning as people came in, and people's reactions to things like a kilt are a little unusual. They kind of like want to look in the eye, but they just want to steal a glance. That down there, I'll tell you what, it's really comfy. I got airflow, fellas. But as you probably have gathered, there's a purpose behind it, though I do love wearing it, and I actually look for opportunities. I enjoy sharing what makes me who I am. And that, so very much, the more I get into things like genealogies and where I come from and what all that made this stew that becomes a human being. But I learned many, many things as I began to look into it. I have a copy of my family crest this morning, and I could not help but chuckle when I realized that it kind of looks like a jail, doesn't it? It's actually a castle, but I have worked in prisons that have just that same look. I thought that was kind of fun, but if you notice at the bottom, you'll see the crown. That means we were loyal to England, which, depending on what side you were on, might have made me part of the solution or part of the problem. But I also couldn't help but notice that one of certainly my traits, and I believe I see now where it came from, my wife has heard me say many times, I have no trouble admitting when I am wrong. I just ask that you prove it. And the same thing goes, if you believe your cause is right, that's fine, but as for me, I believe this and I'll stick to it. That's probably certainly where it could have come from. But our desire to remain loyal to England. But I come from the clan of the McLaughlins. I did not really know this until my father had passed away, and everybody's sitting at the wake and they're passing little family stories. The man I knew as my father's father was not actually his father. My grandmother had a dalliance with a man by the last name of McLaughlin. And when I was a child, I remember going to the farm. They had calico cats, and I brought one home, a calico. And they always say, oh, you got to go visit Pappy Mac. I didn't know who Pappy Mac was. But that was the baby little Scotsman in which I get my genetic makeup. But the clan McLaughlin claims descent from Lachlanmore, who lived on the shores of Loch Fyne, that would be Fine Lake, in the 13th century. Lachlan belonged to the family who originally immigrated from Ireland to Scotland in the 11th century. But our district is Loch Fyne in the county of Argyll. Now, that's where we get the socks from, right? Argyll. Yep. Michelle pointed out that they were very intricate socks. So you were very loved if you had a pair of Argyll socks, because to knit that takes a great deal of work. But isn't that kind of all of us? We're all bits and pieces, very complicated things that make up who we are. For the last few weeks, we've been talking about hot button topics, and one of them, most certainly, is immigration today, and the topic of illegal immigration, as well as the wall, all those kinds of things. But I decided this morning that I would wear my kilt because, well, I'm from immigrants. And if it wasn't for the open door policy in this country, I don't know. I guess I would still be me. I don't know. Maybe I'd just wear this a lot more often in a lot more rainy climate. I don't know. But that's for God to know. But certainly, most of us, if we trace back, will find that point where we came from somewhere else. The United States has always been a bit of a melting pot, they call it. And I have a bit of a saying. I said, you're not a true American unless your ancestors have been run out of every self-respecting nation on the planet. But it's long since, the very reason we have the Statue of Liberty in the New York Harbor was a symbol of welcoming those from other places. We have that history here in the United States. And people came for many reasons: religious freedoms, hunger, war, civil wars often, sometimes, as that song said, pestilence. We don't really think about that. But I know many Irish immigrants came because of a potato blight, one of the staples in their diets. All the potatoes began rotting. And that certainly brought many people here to the United States. But mostly they came simply for an opportunity to be better. Simply a better chance at life for those we care for. That's really all any of us ever really want, isn't it? To give to our children better than what we received. Yet many of those who come find often the same conditions one way or another here in the United States. They're met with prejudice. Certainly if we look at the totality of history of the United States, we can see where people fled ghettos in Europe only to come to a ghetto here in the United States. Only this time it was all Irish. Maybe they left the all Jewish. But we have that history here in the United States. But it is many of the same things that our family